we were brought up, what we are emotionally attached to, has made us accept the worshipping of God's creation. And those of us that are involved in the worship of God's creation, we tend to fear letting this go because of what other people are going to say. What are my friends going to think of me? We have this fear, as though inside of ourselves we know, yes, Jesus is not God. Buddha is not God. Shiva is not God. God is beyond these created beings whom we worship. But as I said, our emotion keeps us trapped. And that's why I said that for us to be honest, to honestly seek the true religion of God, then we have to put our emotions aside and look at what is in front of us, what evidence, what are the arguments of the various religions. Look at them intellectually. We have to look at them with the powers that God has given us, the intelligence that God has given us, the ability to reason, to determine with our own brains what is right and what is wrong. The other major criterion of Islam, which we say makes it the only candidate for being the true religion of God, is its universality. Because when we say that this religion is the true religion of God, it must be a religion which anyone can find anywhere at any time. This is what it has to be. Because if it is something which people can't find, only if they know about this or they know about that, they can follow it, then it's not universal, and it can't be the religion of God. Christianity depends on the belief in Jesus Christ, that He was the Son of God and God incarnate on earth who died for the sins of man, etc., etc. Now all of the peoples of the earth who never heard of Jesus Christ, these people have no place in the scheme of things as understood by Christianity. Similarly with Judaism, Buddhism, etc., etc. However, in the case of Islam, one can be a Muslim without ever hearing of Prophet Muhammad. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him and all the prophets. It is possible. Because the foundation of Islam is submission to the will of God, the one true God. So if a Christian in some remote area who has never heard about the teachings of Islam as taught by the last prophet, Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, but he has the pieces of the teachings of Prophet Jesus, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him also, and he follows what is right of those teachings, submitting to the will of God, then he or she is a Muslim. That is Islam. And that is what makes Islam, as I said, universal, and makes it the only candidate for being the true religion of God. And this is not something that I'm making up. You know, somebody might say, oh, he's just making that up because he wants to convince these people that, Islam is the best. No. This is something you can read in the Qur'an itself. There is a verse mentioned twice in the Qur'an to emphasize to the people this principle, wherein God says, verily those who believe among the Muslims and among the Jews and the Christians and the star worshippers, those who are involved in any other kind of worship, whoever amongst them believes in the one true God and does righteous deeds, believing that he or she is accountable for what they do in this life, that there is a resurrection and judgment, they will be judged, such will inherit paradise. This is a paraphrasing of the verse. But if any of you don't believe me, we can read the verse exactly for you, word for word. This is the basis of the universal teachings of Islam. Abraham, Prophet Abraham, may God's peace and blessings be upon him, we believe was a Muslim. What he taught was Islam. All of his followers were Muslims. There were those who submitted to the religion of God. They submitted themselves to God, and they strove to do righteousness. Similarly, the followers of Prophet David and Moses and Jesus, may God's peace and blessings be upon all of them, we consider all to be Muslims. And that, as I said, is the universality of Islam. Islam further teaches that each individual, when he or she was first created, when Adam was created, all of Adam's descendants were taken in the spiritual form and made to bear witness that God was the only one deserving worship. There was just one God. They were all made to recognize the existence of God. And when the child is born, the child has that inside himself as a part of his nature. And as such, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had said, every child is born with a natural inclination to the belief in God. However, it is his parents, that is his circumstances, which cause him to be a Christian or a Jew or whatever. It's a circumstance. But that fundamental belief is there. And this is why, in Islam, this belief is called kufr. This word kufr in Arabic, it means to cover or to conceal, to cover something. That is, one who disbelieves in God, in the one true God, is in fact covering a belief which he or she has within themselves. They know inside themselves, but they're covering that belief and going with a false belief. Now, as I said,